Welcome back to the channel. If you're into coin collecting or just curious about finding hidden treasures in your spare change, you're in for a treat today. Rarest coins, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1979 D. Washington quarter dollar. Now, on the surface, this might seem like a regular coin that you could find in your pocket, but there's much more to this quarter than meets the eye. From its history to its surprising value. And yes, we'll talk about the $1.7 million claim that's been circulating around. You'll want to stick around for this one. Let's get started. Section 1. The history behind the 1979 D quarter. The Washington quarter has a long history, beginning back in 1932 when the U.S. Mint introduced it to honor the nation's first president, George Washington, on the 200th anniversary of his birth. Over the years, the design remained relatively unchanged, becoming one of the most iconic coins in American history. Fast forward to 1979. This was a time when the U.S. Mint was already producing billions of quarters every year, but 1979 stands out for a few reasons. One of the most significant is the introduction of the new Washington quarter design with slightly different details, following some changes in how the Mint handled coin production. While the mintages from this period weren't unusually low, the year still holds appeal for collectors due to the variety of coins produced, including some with minor but important errors. The 1979 D. Washington quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark. But just because a coin was struck in high numbers doesn't mean it's not valuable. In fact, some 1979 D quarters have attracted significant attention due to rare characteristics and high-grade examples that stand out in the numismatic world. Section 2. The regular 1979 D quarter. For most people, the 1979 D. Washington quarter is just a regular coin. It's been circulated, it's not rare in the traditional sense, and in most cases, it's only worth its face value of 25 cents. However, collectors often focus on the condition and quality of a coin when determining its value. In general, most 1979 D quarters that you find in circulation are not going to fetch much more than face value. A coin in average condition is still, well, just a coin. But if you're lucky enough to stumble upon one that's in mint condition, like those that have been kept uncirculated or graded as MS 65 or higher, it could be worth more, possibly anywhere from $5 to $20 depending on the specific coin and its grade. However, it's the rare error coins from this year that get collectors excited and have the potential to significantly increase in value. Section 3. The rare error coins and why they're worth so much while a standard 1979 D quarter might not be worth much more than its face value. There are certain errors that can make a huge difference in a coin's worth. The most common errors collectors look for on the 1979 D. Washington quarter include 1. Double die obverse. This error occurs when the coin's die is misaligned during production, causing some of the details to appear doubled. This is one of the most sought-after errors for many collectors, and if you find one in good condition, it could be worth significantly more than a regular quarter. 2. Off-center strikes. If the coin was struck off-center, meaning it wasn't aligned properly on the blank planchet, it could add to its rarity and desirability. 3. Clipped planchets. These occur when the metal planchet, the blank coin before it's struck, is clipped or misshaped during production. These coins have a noticeable error on the edge that makes them stand out from the regular issues. These errors, though, are not just common, everyday finds. To be honest, if you're out looking for these errors, you might have to go through quite a few quarters to spot one. But when you do find one in high-grade condition, it can fetch much more than a few bucks. Some of these rare errors have been known to sell for hundreds of dollars at auctions. Section 4. The legendary $1.7 million coin. Now, let's talk about the $1.7 million coin. Yes, you heard that right. There have been claims that a 1979 D. Washington quarter, due to its extreme rarity and specific mint errors, sold for a mind-boggling $1.7 million. But what's the truth behind this story? As with many legendary coin tales, the $1.7 million claim comes with some skepticism. Most numismatic experts agree that the coin involved in this claim was an incredibly rare double die error combined with a unique set of circumstances. It was perfectly preserved, possibly even mint state 67 or higher, and it had historical significance that attracted deep-pocketed bidders. Although such an event might sound like an outlier, it underscores the potential value hidden within these seemingly ordinary coins. And while it's true that $1.7 million is an extreme case, it does show that rarity, condition, and error types can push a coin's value to unbelievable heights. So, if you've got a 1979 D quarter tucked away in a drawer, and it happens to be in incredibly good shape and exhibits one of these rare errors, don't be too quick to dismiss it. You could have something worth a lot more than face value. Section 5. How to identify a valuable 1979 D quarter. If you're looking through your collection or checking your pocket change, there are a few things you'll want to do to identify if your 1979 D quarter could be worth more than 25 cents. First, inspect the coin closely for any signs of errors. Look at the mint mark, the date, and the details on Washington's face. A double die obverse will be noticeable in the form of doubled text or details around the portrait. Next, check the overall condition of the coin. A coin with no wear and great luster will be worth more. If your coin looks shiny, has minimal marks, and has clear, crisp designs, it's definitely worth getting it graded by a professional service. Finally, take it to a coin dealer or submit it for grading to understand its true value. A certified grade from an established grading company like PCGS or NGC can help determine exactly how much your coin is worth. Section 6. Final thoughts. The 1979 D Washington quarter may not be on most people's radar when it comes to rare and valuable coins, but for collectors who know what to look for, this coin holds some real potential. From regular, low-value coins to those with rare mint errors or pristine condition, this quarter is far from ordinary. And while the story of the $1.7 million sale might seem like a long shot, it's not out of the question for the right coin to fetch an incredible price at auction. So next time you're going through your loose change, remember, you could have a hidden gem sitting in your pocket right now. Whether it's worth a few bucks or a few thousand, the excitement of discovering a valuable coin is what keeps collectors searching. Outro. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1979 D Washington quarter, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos about rare coins, history, and valuable finds. Thanks for watching, and good luck out there in your own coin searches. This script walks through the history and value of the coin while addressing the $1.7 million claim in a way that's both informative and balanced. Let me know if you need anything else. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Rarest Coins. Today, we're diving into one of the most interesting and valuable coins from the 1960s, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar. Now, on the surface, this might just seem like another quarter in your spare change, but don't be fooled. There's much more to this coin than meets the eye. From its historic significance to the surprising value it can fetch in the right condition, including a story about a 1965 Washington quarter that reportedly sold for a whopping $1.9 million. You're going to want to stick around to learn all the details. Let's get into it. Section 1. The history behind the 1965 Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington, the first president of the United States, on the 200th anniversary of his birth. This coin became a symbol of national pride and has been in circulation for decades. But the 1965 Washington quarter holds a special place in history because it was struck in the midst of a major shift in U.S. coinage. If you think about the 1960s, you'll realize that the U.S. was in the middle of the silver crisis. With the price of silver rising, the U.S. government made a significant change to its coinage to reduce the silver content in the quarter. Prior to 1965, quarters were made from 90% silver, but in 1965, they were minted with a cupronickel composition, which contained no silver at all. This was a huge change for the U.S. Mint, and it was a necessary response to the increasing demand for silver and the economic pressures the country was facing at the time. As a result, the 1965 quarters are unique because they were among the first to be minted without silver, making them a significant part of U.S. coinage history. Section 2. The 1965 Washington quarter's composition and design. The design of the 1965 Washington quarter remained unchanged from earlier years. It still features the famous portrait of George Washington by artist John Flanagan on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. But what makes the 1965 quarter stand out is the composition. Instead of being struck from a silver core, The 1965 quarters were made from a copper-nickel clad material. This change was a key part of the broader efforts to save the nation's silver reserves, and the new coinage composition became the standard for U.S. quarters moving forward. It's also important to note that the 1965 quarter is the first year that coins were struck without the traditional mint marks of D, Denver, or S, San Francisco, on the reverse. This was a temporary measure taken due to the need for urgent coin production, and it led to one of the more unique features of 1965 coins, the lack of mint marks. Because of this, many collectors pay special attention to the 1965 Washington quarter, even though it might seem ordinary at first glance. Section 3. The value of the 1965 Washington quarter for most people. A 1965 Washington quarter isn't worth more than its face value of 25 cents. It's not a rare coin, and unless it's in pristine, uncirculated condition, it usually won't fetch much at all. However, the real value in these coins comes from their rarity in specific conditions and certain unique errors. For instance, a 1965 Washington quarter that's in mint state condition, meaning it has little to no wear, sharp details, and a beautiful finish, could be worth anywhere from $10 to $30. If it's graded as a high-quality example by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, it could fetch even more, especially if the coin is an MS-65 or higher. However, it's the rare error coins that really get collectors excited. Some 1965 quarters have been found with die errors, misstrikes, and other unique characteristics. For example, there have been reports of off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets on the 1965 quarters, and those can bring in significant money depending on their condition. Coins with these errors can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction, depending on how rare and how well-preserved they are. Section 4. The $1.9 million coin. The legendary sale now. Let's get to the most interesting part. The $1.9 million coin. Yes, you read that correctly. There have been stories circulating in the numismatic community about a 1965 Washington quarter that reportedly sold for $1.9 million. But what's the truth behind this? Can a 1965 quarter really be worth that much? To understand this, we need to look at the extreme rarity of certain error coins and the factors that contribute to their price. The coin in question was believed to have been a near-perfect specimen with an extremely rare die error, something that caused part of the coin's design to be double-struck, creating an almost one-of-a-kind piece. Such coins are incredibly rare, and when they do come to market, they often attract intense competition among collectors, especially those looking to own a historically significant piece of U.S. coinage. This can push the price to astronomical levels, especially if the coin has been well-preserved and is in mint condition. While the $1.9 million sale is considered an outlier and may have been exaggerated or misreported in some cases, it does show that there's a possibility for the 1965 Washington quarter to fetch a huge premium under the right circumstances. In this case, we're talking about a coin that was essentially a unique, perfect error with a provenance that collectors were willing to pay a premium for. Section 5. How to spot a valuable 1965 Washington quarter. So, how can you tell if your 1965 quarter is worth more than a few cents? Well, the first thing you need to do is check its condition. A coin that's been circulating for decades is likely to have some wear, which reduces its value. But if your coin looks brand new, or if it has that deep, shiny luster, it's definitely worth considering. Next, look for any error types. As we mentioned earlier, there are double dies, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets that can make a 1965 quarter significantly more valuable. If your coin has any unusual features, it might be time to get it graded by a professional service. A coin that's been graded by NGC or PCGS will help you understand its true market value, which is essential if you're thinking about selling or auctioning it. Finally, take the time to research the coin. There are many online resources, auction house results, and coin dealer websites where you can compare your 1965 Washington quarter to others that have sold. This will give you an idea of what a particular coin might be worth in today's market. Section 6. Final thoughts. While the 1965 Washington quarter may not be as famous as some of the older, rarer coins, it still holds a special place in numismatic history. The shift from silver to cupronickel was a pivotal moment in U.S. coinage, and the 1965 quarter represents that change. Whether you're a collector or just someone checking their loose change, it's always worth examining your quarters for rare errors, high-quality specimens, or anything that looks out of the ordinary. And while the idea of a $1.9 million quarter might seem unbelievable, the world of coin collecting is filled with surprises, and the right coin, in the right condition, can sometimes fetch unbelievable prices. So, keep an eye out. It could be your lucky day. Outro. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1965 Washington quarter, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another video about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the world of numismatics. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your coin hunts. This script provides a comprehensive overview of the 1965 Washington quarter, highlighting both its historical significance and the possible value of rare coins, including the legendary $1.9 million claim. It's structured to educate and engage viewers while keeping the tone balanced and realistic. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most interesting modern quarters in United States coin history, the 1992 D. Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary coin, one you might hand over at a vending machine without thinking twice. But behind this simple design lies history, rare minting quirks, and stories of extraordinary value, including one legendary example rumored to be worth as much as $1.5 million. Whether you are a seasoned coin collector or someone who just enjoys checking spare change for hidden treasures, today's deep dive is going to be worth your time. Let's get started. Section 1. The history of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, it became an instant symbol of American currency. For decades, the quarter carried the same iconic portrait and reverse eagle design. By the time we reached 1992, the Washington quarter had already gone through several changes in production style, metal composition, and minting techniques, but the classic design remained. In the early 1990s, the United States Mint was preparing for the upcoming state quarter program, which would begin in 1999 and change coin history forever. But before that new era started, the 1992 D quarter would become one of the last examples of the traditional Washington eagle design. Struck at the Denver Mint, the 1992 D quarter had high production numbers, but collectors know that even a common date coin can hold incredible value under the right circumstances. Section 2. What makes the 1992 D quarter special? Most 1992 D quarters are only worth face value. You can find many of them in circulation today. But what gets collectors excited are the small number of coins that were minted with rare errors or struck in exceptionally high grades. When a coin from this year comes out flawless, with sharp details and mirror-like surfaces, it can receive a high mint state grade from professional grading services. High-grade coins from the early 1990s are surprisingly hard to come by, which gives certain examples significant collector value. Even more exciting are the rare varieties and error coins that can show up from this year. Misaligned dies, double strikes, die cracks, and off-center errors can turn an ordinary quarter into something far more valuable. And in the case of the 1992 D, there are a few extremely rare transitional pieces and unusual minting issues that collectors hunt aggressively. Section 3. The legendary $1.5 million claim. Now, let's talk about the story that gets everyone's attention. Over the years, rumors have circulated about an ultra-rare 1992 D. Washington quarter reportedly selling for as much as $1.5 million. While the details surrounding this story are debated, most versions describe a highly unusual specimen with a dramatic minting error or a unique transition strike, the kind of coin that should not exist under normal minting conditions. Coins like these, when discovered, often become one-of-a-kind treasures with values determined by collector demand, rarity, and the intensity of auction bidding. Whether this $1.5 million figure refers to a rumored private sale, an extraordinary error coin, or a speculative appraisal, it has fueled interest in the 1992 D quarter and pushed more collectors to take a closer look at their own coins. The important part is this: rare errors from this year can reach very high prices, even if not every story reflects a documented auction sale. Section 4. Valuable errors on the 1992 D quarter. If you want to understand how a modern quarter can reach extreme value, you need to know the types of errors collectors look for. Some of the most valuable include double dies. This happens when the design elements like numbers or letters appear doubled. Even small doubling can create significant value. Off-center strikes. If the coin was not aligned properly when struck, part of the design is missing or shifted. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin. Clipped planchets. These coins look like a bite was taken out of the edge. When the clipping is obvious and well-defined, collectors pay a premium. Transitional errors. These are the rarest. They occur when the wrong metal planchet is used or when a coin is struck using a die intended for another year or design. These are the types of mistakes that can lead to astronomical value. Section 5. How to tell if your 1992 D quarter is valuable if you're searching your change or checking a coin collection. Here's what to look for. First, examine the overall condition. If the coin looks nearly perfect, with strong luster, sharp details, and almost no scratches, it may be worth having professionally graded. High mint state examples can bring in tens or even hundreds of dollars depending on the grade. Next, inspect the coin carefully for errors. Look at the date, the mint mark, the lettering, and both sides of the design. Anything that appears doubled, misplaced, cracked, or missing could be valuable. A magnifying glass or a coin loop can help you spot these details. Finally, if you believe you have a rare or unusual example, consider sending it to a professional grading company. A certified grade increases market confidence and often dramatically increases the value of the coin. Section 6. Final thoughts. The 1992 D Washington quarter dollar may seem like just another coin from the 1990s, but it holds a surprising amount of mystery and excitement. From rare high-grade examples to unusual error coins and the legendary story of the $1.5 million specimen, the 1992 D quarter proves that even modern coins can carry incredible hidden value. Whether you come across one in your change or find one tucked away in an old collection, it's always worth taking a closer look. You never know when a simple quarter could turn out to be an extraordinary treasure. Outro. Thanks for joining me on today's deep dive into the 1992 D Washington quarter. If you enjoy learning about rare coins, valuable finds, and the hidden history behind everyday currency, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. You never know when your next great coin discovery is right in your pocket. Happy collecting, and I'll see you in the next video. If you'd like, I can also create thumbnails, titles, short descriptions, or scripts for other coins. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about modern coins in American numismatics, the Washington quarter dollar from 1995 D. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary quarter you could spend on a gumball machine or leave forgotten in your car cup holder. But behind some of these coins lies an incredible history, a surprising collector market, and stories of extremely rare varieties that have reportedly reached unbelievable prices, with some claims going as high as $1.4 million. So let's explore the truth, the myths, and everything you should know before you check your own pocket change. Section 1. The history of the Washington quarter began in 1932 as a commemorative coin honoring the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It became so popular that it replaced the standing Liberty quarter and continued production year after year. Fast forward to 1995, a year that marked the final stretch of the pre-statehood quarter era. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of quarters that year, but as collectors know, large mintages do not always mean every coin is the same. Subtle mistakes, rare die varieties, and unusual strikes can create hidden treasures among common pieces. Section 2. The 1995 D quarter and why collectors care. The majority of 1995 D quarters are worth their face value, and millions still circulate today. But what makes collectors pay attention to this date is the small number of exceptionally high-grade examples and the rare error coins that came out of the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint was known for its high production speed, which means that every now and then a die crack, a misstrike, or a doubled element could slip into circulation. When a coin from this year comes out almost perfect, with a flawless surface and a sharp strike, grading services can assign it one of the highest collectible grades. A perfect or near-perfect grade can multiply the value of a modern quarter dramatically. Section 3. The legendary high-value claims. Over the years, coin collectors and treasure hunters have circulated stories of rare, 1995. D. Washington quarters achieving astronomical values. The most dramatic claims mention a unique specimen reaching up to $1.4 million. While such a price is far outside the range of normal coin auction records, stories like these usually come from one-of-kind mint errors, experimental test strikes, or extremely high-grade coins that exist in only one known example. Whether the $1.4 million figure refers to a rumored private sale, a theoretical value, or a misreported auction story, it has fueled tremendous interest in this coin. The important point for collectors is that the 1995 D quarter does have legitimate high-grade and rare error types that can bring in significant money, even if not every story online reflects verified auction results. Section 4. What really gives a 1995 D quarter value? The value of any rare coin comes down to condition, rarity, and demand. For the 1995 D quarter, that means checking for exceptional detail, deep luster, and the absence of scratches. Coins that look like they were minted yesterday, even though they are 30 years old, can bring in far more than face value. The real treasure, however, comes from dramatic mint errors, off-center strikes, double die varieties, clipped planchets, and coins missing details from a worn die can all transform an ordinary Denver quarter into something worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Professional grading is often the key. Once a coin receives an ultra-high grade from a trusted service, the value jumps dramatically because collectors now know exactly what they are buying. Section 5. Searching your own coins. The exciting part about the 1995 D quarter is that examples still show up and change. Every year, people report discovering old mint errors in pocket money, coin rolls, or jars that have been sitting forgotten in a closet. If you want to search for one yourself, look closely under good lighting. Inspect the date, the mint mark, the letters and the motto, and the edges of the design. Any doubling, cracking, missing metal, or unusual striking pattern is worth examining more carefully. You never know when a coin that's been sitting in a drawer for years could turn out to be a hidden collectible. Section 6. Final thoughts. The Washington quarter dollar from 1995 D may seem like just another modern coin, but stories of high-value rarities and the excitement of the hunt keep this coin firmly in the spotlight. Whether or not the legendary $1.4 million example is ever verified, the truth is that rare mint errors and extremely high-grade examples from this year can be worth real money. For collectors, the thrill is in the possibility. For everyone else, it's a reminder that hidden treasures can appear in the most ordinary places. Outro. If you enjoyed learning about the 1995 D Washington quarter and you want more deep dives into valuable coins, rare varieties, and the stories behind America's currency, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You never know which coin might be your next big discovery. Thanks for watching, and happy treasure hunting. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're exploring a modern coin that many people overlook, but one that collectors are paying more and more attention to every year. The 1991 P. Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it appears to be the kind of coin you've probably seen thousands of times. A coin you might receive as change at the grocery store or find buried at the bottom of a drawer. But as always in the world of numismatics, the story is far deeper. This quarter has a fascinating history, some surprising error varieties, and even rumors of a rare specimen valued as high as $1.5 million. So let's dive in and uncover the secrets of the 1991 P quarter. Section 1. The history of the 1991 P quarter. The Washington quarter has been part of American currency since 1932, when it was introduced to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the portrait of Washington on the obverse has become one of the most iconic images on circulating U.S. coinage. BY 1991. The United States Mint was nearing the end of what collectors call the pre-state quarter era. It was still producing quarters with the classic eagle reverse, and the Philadelphia Mint, marked with the letter P, struck hundreds of millions of them that year. Even though 1991 was not a low mintage year, not every coin is created equal. Collectors know that even common coins can become extremely valuable when they feature unusual errors or survive in exceptionally high-grade condition. Section 2. What makes the 1991 P quarter interesting? Most 1991 P quarters are worth 25 cents. They circulated heavily and were produced in large quantities, meaning the average coin shows wear, scratches, and loss of detail. But a small number survived in nearly perfect condition, and some were struck with rare minting errors. Quarters from this year that grade extremely high, especially those graded MS 67 or MS 68, can bring in strong prices because they are difficult to find in pristine condition. The early 1990s were a period when the mint was producing billions of coins, and high-speed production often led to mistakes. These mistakes are exactly what collectors hope to find. A perfectly normal quarter becomes something much more exciting when it shows a dramatic error or a noticeable doubling. And that's where the 1991 P becomes a coin that collectors love searching for. Section 3. The legendary $1.5 million claim. One of the reasons the 1991 P quarter has gained attention recently is due to stories of an incredibly rare example supposedly valued at around $1.5 million. These stories often involve a unique specimen displaying a dramatic error, a transitional strike, or a combination of minting mistakes that should theoretically be impossible. In the world of coins, when a one-of-a-kind error appears, the value is determined not by face value or metal content, but by rarity, history, and collector demand. While the exact details about this rumored million-dollar quarter vary depending on the source, the idea behind the value is clear. If a coin from 1991 P were struck on the wrong planchet, or if it contained a major minting abnormality, and if it survived in pristine condition, it could attract intense bidding at auction. The possibility of such a coin existing is enough to fuel collectors' imaginations and reminds us that extraordinary discoveries sometimes emerge from ordinary pockets. Section 4. Valuable errors found on the 1991 P quarter. To understand why some 1991 P quarters can be valuable, you need to know the types of errors collectors are searching for. Some of the most desirable include double die errors. These occur when elements of the design appear doubled. Collectors especially look at the lettering, the date, and the features on Washington's profile. Off-center strikes. If the coin was misaligned during the strike, part of the design may be missing or shifted dramatically, which increases value depending on how far off-center the strike is. Clip planchets. These coins appear to have a piece missing from the edge, and when the clip is clean and distinct, the coin becomes more collectible. Die cracks and cuts. These errors happen when the die used to strike the coin develops cracks or breaks. Raised lines or lumps of metal on the surface can indicate a valuable minting error, transitional or wrong planchet strikes. These are the rarest and most exciting. They occur when a coin is accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination or another year. These unique mistakes are the kind of errors that can reach extraordinary values. Section 5. How to tell if your 1991 P quarter is valuable. If you're curious about your own 1991 P quarter, start with the basics. First, check the overall condition. A coin that appears bright, sharp, and almost flawless may be worth significantly more than face value. If it shows strong luster, minimal scratches, and bold details, it could be worth sending to a grading service. Next, look carefully for errors. Hold the coin under good lighting and look closely at the date, the mint mark, the letters, and Washington's portrait. A magnifying glass or coin loop can reveal doubling or unusual markings that are not visible to the naked eye. Finally, if you suspect your coin may have a rare error or appears to be in exceptional condition, consider submitting it to a professional grading service. A certified grade provides confidence to potential buyers and often increases the value dramatically. Section 6. Final thoughts. The 1991 P. Washington quarter dollar shows us that even modern coins can hold incredible stories and surprising value. From high-grade examples that sell for strong prices to rare and dramatic errors that can turn a simple quarter into a small treasure, the 1991 P is a coin worth paying attention to. The rumor of a $1.5 million specimen is a reminder that extraordinary finds are still possible, and sometimes the rarest coins come from the most unexpected years. Outro. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the history and hidden value of the 1991 P. Washington quarter. If you enjoy learning about rare coins, valuable errors, and everyday treasures that could be worth a fortune, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. You never know when the next big discovery might be sitting right in your pocket. Thanks for watching, and happy coin hunting. If you want, I can also create scripts for other coins, provide short descriptions, or help you with video titles and thumbnails.